All right, and we are live. Of course, we welcome all of you back to our channel, no, sa ating YouTube channel, that's Gurong Pinoy. And of course, you can also watch us right now on our Facebook page, which is also still Gurong Pinoy. Welcome back po sa lahat ng ating Team Thunders. Kaway-kaway sa ating mga team veterano, sa mga members ng ating Team Gardner. Kaway-kaway, we welcome all of you back. And of course, good evening po sa inyong lahat. And of course, sa ating namang mga new babies, sa mga members ng ating Team Erickson, we welcome all of you back. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that means you are still not a member of any of our teams. The good news is you can still be a member of Gurong Pinoy, and you can you can receive your copies, the soft copies of all the materials that I am discussing on YouTube and also on Facebook. Okay, so again, it's very easy for you to become a member of Gurong Pinoy teams. All you need to do is to enroll. Okay, join us for our Let's September 2021. Our enrollment is still open. Again, our basic membership is still at 1,250. That's for GenEd and ProfEd. That's for Team Erickson. Our Pro membership, that's our majorship. We have our majorship offerings for English, Math, SocSci, BioSci, MAPE, and Filipino. That's only 1,500. And of course, for our premium membership, that's GenEd, ProfEd, and Major, that's only 2,500. Now, we still have the good news because we still have several slots that are available for our 500 pesos enrollment. Okay, so meron pa po tayong enrollment of 500 pesos po lamang. For basic, that's Team Erickson, that's your GenEd and ProfEd. 500 na lamang po. Your Pro, which is Major, that's also still at 500. And of course, your Premium, that's all in. That's GenEd, ProfEd, and your Major. That's only 850 up until this day. Okay, so again, please do join us. We welcome all of you sa lahat ng ating mga newcomers, no, sa mga first time to watch us on YouTube, and it might be also on Facebook. Hello po, we welcome all of you. Please do take note. And again, tonight you will be needing your pencil and your paper for your discussion for English. Okay, so again, sana may teka. Si Sir Ewell de la Cruz, sabi ni Sir Ewell, sana may tig 250, pandemic is real, okay? 500, I know, is already very, very cheap, okay? As you know, whenever we have our guest lecturers, also, of course, for your leadership, we also give your PF, no? May PF tayo sa ating mga guest lecturers. Okay. Hello, Sir Ma'am RV Joy Tulod. Belated happy birthday kay Ma'am. All right, now again, you can also still join us and support Gurong Pinoy as one of our supporters. Your supporters exclusive meeting are also happening. Okay, so this screenshot has been from our previous meeting. We are going to have our next meeting, and of course, this is going to be our next topic. So again, please do support us. There is a supporters button which can be found near your chat box. Now, your chat button dyan po sa ating Facebook page. You can also support us by sending us your stars. Again, please do send us your stars. This also through Facebook. And of course, the stars that we are going to collect, the funds that we are going to collect from all the stars that you're sending, we are going to use that for our Summer Fever 2021, which is going to happen on May 15th, 2021. Now, speaking of your Summer Fever, I've already posted our groups. Now, so meron po tayong 9 groups. Please do make sure that you visit our Facebook page to see who your group mates are. And of course, to talk with your group mates, to form your groups, to also decide who's going to be the contestants. Again, we have Gurong Pinoy Got Talent, that's singing, acting, poetry, and magic. That's going to be an individual competition. Meron din po tayong Dance Showdown, which is going to be your group competition. Mr. and Miss Gurong Pinoy 2021, which is going to have the categories of casual, talent, gown, and of course, there's going to be interview. Again, all the categories, all the different criteria, all the different guidelines can be found on our Facebook page. Okay, so again, please do make sure that you visit our Facebook page, you follow us, and of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay, now for the remainder of our 8 live stream schedule, again, next weekend, we are going to have GenEd on Saturday. Then Sunday po, we are going to have GenSci Part 3 with Doc H. On the 24th, that's going to be another Saturday, the last Saturday of April, that's going to be ProfEd still with me. And of course, you'll have GenSci with Doc H Part 4, the last part, on the 25th of April. Okay, so again, make sure that you follow us on our Facebook page and you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Okay, but of course, tonight we are still coming back with the beautiful Coach Arianne for part 2 of your English review. Okay, so again, this is still part of your GenEd. for those of you who are going to prepare for your, or who are preparing for your upcoming LET. And of course, this is also part of the EPT for those of you who are having your DepEd ranking. Okay? So without further ado, I give you Ma'am A. Good evening po, Coach A.
Good evening, Ma'am Meg. Good evening, everyone. I'll start sharing my screen.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Still loading. Let's see. There it is. Okay. And present. Please give me a thumbs up sign if you can already see my slide. All set? Let's pray in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, Lord, for giving us this chance to listen and to learn. Thank you for allowing us to work towards our dream. We offer our struggles and effort to you. May tonight's session be meaningful and productive. Please heal those who are sick, especially those who are suffering from COVID-19. Bless those who take care of them, Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Good evening, everyone. I see some people greeting me in the chat. Good evening, Ma'am Shelby May. Also, good evening to those who showed me the thumbs up, telling me that the screen is already up. So after this prayer, I'd like to repeat the expectations that I mentioned yesterday. I will expect everyone to participate actively in today's session by answering questions and by typing answers in the comment section. Also, for those who want to remember the things that they've learned, please take note of the important concepts mentioned in the session. So kindly prepare your pen and paper. Okay, so based on yesterday's participation and comments, I'd like to share with you this one of my favorite posters that I share with my students whenever we deal with grammar in our English classes. So this poster says, in this classroom, or in our case, in this session, mistakes, the one with an S, mistakes are expected, respected, inspected, and corrected. So as I've mentioned yesterday, tonight rather, is the perfect chance or opportunity for you to pretend as if you're already taking the licensure. And if you make a mistake, that's perfectly fine, because here we will be explaining the concepts and we will be learning from each other. So don't worry so much if you make a mistake. If you make a mistake, that's proof that you are trying and that you're also learning. So in our correction of your mistakes, we will have proof that you are growing or that you are learning. Okay? So may you not be afraid to make mistakes tonight, especially in this grammar session. First, let's have a recap. Last night, we were able to deal with many of the subject-verb agreement rules, particularly the following. First, we were able to discuss nouns requiring singular verbs such as news, physics, economics. I remember mentioning ethics and others. I think there was measles included as well. Also, we had nouns requiring plural verbs, those that you mentioned that come in pairs, like scissors, tweezers, pants, shears, and the like. So we said if you encounter these words in the licensure, it means that you're going to need a plural verb unless the word pair is mentioned before it. Do you remember that from yesterday? We said if the test mentions a pair of, then that's the time you use a singular verb instead of the plural one. Also, we had subjects with expressions like with. You remember the example, the city mayor together with, or including, or accompanied by, etc. When you encounter these subjects, if the subject comes with these words, then those subjects will need a singular verb. The only time that you will use a plural verb is when the subject comes with and, meaning two different subjects joined by the conjunction and. But if it comes with, together with, including, accompanied by, and the like, even if the list is a kilometer long, the subject remains, and the verb required will be singular. Also, we had examples of collective nouns. I mentioned that in general, collective nouns make use of the singular form of the verb, but in instances when the members of the group do not agree, for example, if the members of the committee or members of the jury are arguing, then that's the time that you will use the plural form of the verb. We also had the difference between the number versus a number. The number is specific. You're referring to a specific number, therefore you need a singular verb. But a number means more than one, but less than many. So we're talking about several. And several will require the plural form of the verb. Also, we had indefinite pronouns. Pronouns that end with body or one, like somebody, anybody, nobody, and the same with one, right? Someone, no one, anyone, everyone. And we even included the words ending with thing, like something, everything. All these will require the singular form of the verb. And aside from the subject-verb agreement, we also covered the following concepts. We had does and do and does rather. We also had relative pronouns who, that, which, and whose. This means that these words connect or relate words, and we use the words who and that for people or persons. Words like that and which for concepts and objects or things, and whose to show property. We also included where for places and when for time, and even the word why for reason. We also dealt with the regular versus irregular verbs. We said that regular verbs form their past and past participle forms by adding ed or d. And then we had the base, past, and past participle forms of irregular verbs as a prerequisite to the perfect tenses. So I mentioned that you must familiarize yourselves with the irregular verbs because they don't follow patterns. You have to remember their specific past and past participle forms in the licensure or in your proficiency test. Also, we ran through the simple tenses and when they're used. So we mentioned also the perfect tense. This is the part where we spent a lot of time, right? We said that the present perfect tense covers events that started in the past and continue to the present or have impact in the present. We use has or have plus the past participle for the present perfect. For past perfect, we talked about two different completed actions in the past, and we use the word had plus the past participle, applicable to both singular and plural nouns. And lastly, we also had the future perfect. We said that in a specific time in the future, we use the word by, as in by lunchtime, by 2021, by next year, by December, etc. Also, we have time expressions for perfect tenses. We mentioned the words already, yet, just, since, no, as in since 2010, for, as in for 2 hours now, and the like for the perfect tenses. We also had comparison of adjectives. We had regular and irregular adjectives. And just like the ones that we had for the irregular verbs, we noticed that there are adjectives that do not follow patterns of adding ER to the comparative form and EST to the superlative form. So adjectives that have more than one syllable will include more and most in their formation of the comparative and superlative forms, only if they're regular. And I think this is the last part. We had the subjunctive mood where you expressed wishes, right? We use were instead of was or am, and we use had instead of have. We use could instead of can, and we used would instead of will. So Are you ready now? I'd like you to be able to prepare your pen and paper. Now going through the comments. There's a question about the repetition. Just ask ko lang po ang plural ng verb kapag nauulit po ang article. For example, the city mayor and the secretary. Here, you're talking about two different people, right? The city mayor and the secretary. So that's a plural form. But if you're dealing or if you're talking about one person only, there are instances when you say the scientist and city mayor, meaning you're referring to one person, then you will need a singular form of the verb. Okay, but if you're sure that you're dealing with two different people, then the subject will require a plural verb. Okay, so let's have identifying errors tonight. Here are the instructions. Each of the following sentences has 4 underlined words or phrases. Read each sentence and determine which underlined portion, if any, has an error in grammar, usage, or word choice. If there's no error, select choice E. I will indicate no error, and no sentence has more than one error. Hopefully, I did not have any typographical errors in my typing. So here, you're reminded, especially those who were not here last night, welcome po tonight. Type the number and the letter in the comment section. So for example, if we're dealing with number 1, then type number 1 in the comment section and then your answer. So answers are supposedly in uppercase or capital letter. Let's begin. The workshop participants does not like the registration process. Identify the error here. Is it A, the, B, does, C, like, D, registration, or E, no error? I'll be waiting for your responses in the chat. Ma'am Christine Acabo says, yan na yung identifying errors. Is this difficult for Ma'am Christine? I have 3 responses for now from Josel Castro, Zenaida Pizana. More responses coming in. Let me see. Okay, let's take a look at this screen. The correct answer for number 1 is letter B. So if we're dealing with plural subjects like the word participants, right? So this is plural. The word workshop is a modifier of the term participants. So we only consider participants as your subject. Therefore, what do you need? The verb that you need here should be do. Kibs Baldago Tanlawan said it should be do. That's correct. So in number 1, determine the subject. Look for the subject first and then check if the verb agrees with it. Your success in identifying errors will largely depend on your ability to be able to identify the subject and its verb. Majority of the errors that will appear will revolve around SV agreement. That's why we spend so much time on it. Let's go to number 2. A paleontologist is a person which studies fossils. Is it A, B, is, C, which, or D, studies? Type your answer. Which of these is the error or contains the error in the sentence? Ma'am Christine said, di naman po masyado mahirap kasi sanay naman po akong maghanap ng mali. Relationship problems, Ma'am Christine? Okay, for number 2, waiting for a few more responses. I see some letter A's. A paleontologist, and then some of you answering letter C, the word which. Eyes on the screen. The correct answer is letter C, which. We're dealing with a relative pronoun, right? When we speak of relative pronouns, then if it's a person, we use the relative pronoun who or that. That's right. Izay. I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Izayba or Izay. We use who or that if we're dealing with persons or people. Let's proceed to number 3. A number of available rooms in this newly opened hotel is 70. Is it letter A, B, of, C, this, or D, is? Eyes on the screen and choose which letter contains the error in the sentence. Ma'am Annalisa Ramos says it should be who. That's correct, ma'am. That's the answer for number 2. For number 3, maybe a few more responses before I reveal the answer. A number of available rooms. I see people answering A, some answering C, some people answering D. Eyes on the screen. When we say, if there's a specific number, right? Like 70. So we say the number because we have the exact number specified in the sentence. So it can be any number. For example, it can be 1,502, anything. So this is a review of the number and a number, right? So if there's a specific number, then the word the should be used. It becomes a number if you mean several. No, meaning more than one, but less than many. So our answer for number 3 is letter A. Number 4, the 8th grade word problems have become more difficult. Is it A, 8th, B, problems, C, became, D, more? Ma'am Teresa Ladao, recap pa ang topic kayo number 3 na. Yes, ma'am, we're now actually mentioning, we're now showing number 4 on the screen. Eyes on the screen, everyone. So is it A, 8th, B, problems, C, became, or D, more? I see some people answering C, became. And one person answering B, problems. And then another one answering A, 8th. Let's see. Eyes on the screen. The correct answer is letter C, became. So if you take a look at this sentence, you will notice the verb have, right? And this reminds you of the present perfect tense that we had yesterday. We use has plus the past participle for singular, right? Singular for present perfect, and then have plus the past participle for plural subjects. So in this case, our subject is problems. And then if you take a look at our verb, the base form is become. You will notice the table on the lower portion. The past tense is became, but for the past participle, it reverts to become. So you use has become, have become, and had become. Sir GR Lintugonan says, my weakness, English grammar. That's okay, sir. We're going to learn concepts about grammar tonight. Thumbs up if it's clear to you how we arrived at the answer in number 4. Became is incorrect because that's simple past. It should be have become. For the present perfect, have plus the past participle. I see your thumbs up. Let's proceed. So in number 4, I'd like us to pay particular attention to the term 8th, as in 8th grade, because if we're going to spell the number 8, then this is how it is spelled, right? GHT at the end. But if we're dealing with order or rank, then we add the H at the end. So for example, 4 is the number, but 4th the addition of TH for the order or rank. 6 is the number, but we add TH, 6, for the order or rank. In this case, when we talk about the word 8, we did not add another T and H, but instead we just added another H. Okay, so that's for number 4. Let's proceed to number 5. The waiter had put the bouquet of roses on the table before the couple arrived. Take a look at this sentence. Is the error letter A, had put, B, bouquet, C, on, or D, before? I see a comment from Lucita Labadan. Ma'am, yes, it's okay if you're late. You can catch up and you can review the video later. Now waiting for your answer to number 5. Some are answering letter A. What's letter A? Had put. Ma'am Myla Fernandez answers letter D, before. More people answering letter A. All right, let's reveal the correct answer. But before that, let's notice the verbs. How many completed actions, meaning actions that are done, are shown in this sentence? I'd like you to type your answer in the comment section. Answer this one. How many completed actions are shown in this sentence? Look for the verbs. Is there only one completed action? Are there 2 completed actions? Are there 3 completed actions? And Christine Pablo says there are 2 completed actions. Together with all the others who are now typing, Katrina Suge, Chari Benban. Very good. There are 2 completed actions in this number. So here, if you recall, the past perfect will deal with 2 actions in the past. The first one, the one that happened first, is had put. The waiter had put the bouquet of roses before. And the word arrived is a simple past action that happens before the present or now. So if you arrange them in the timeline, the word had put truly happens before the simple past arrived. So if we look at the verbs, 2 completed actions and sequenced or arranged correctly in the sentence, therefore, we understand this is past perfect, right? There is no error in number 5. Had put happens before the simple past arrived. Okay? So for number 5, there is no error. This sentence correctly shows how the past perfect is used in a sentence. Kibs Tanlawan asks, is it had been? No, this one is actually correct. So there are no errors here. Next, we proceed to number 6. She wished she can travel to her hometown, which is only 30 kilometers away. Is it A, wished, B, can, C, is, or D, only? Take a look at the sentence and see if you can find some clues. For number 6, choose and type your answer in the comment section. I see some people answering 6A. Danica answered wished. And then some of you answering letter B, can. So mostly it's between 6A or B. Let's see. For number 6, the error is found in letter B, can. Gladys Ilona says, could dapat. And that is correct because here we're dealing with the subjunctive mood. So the earlier part of the sentence, you can say she wishes. That means that right now she's wishing that. Or in the past, she wished. It could be any of those. But because it's a wish, then the next verb should be in the subjunctive, right? Because it's contrary to fact. It's not true at present. She cannot travel at present. So we should say she could travel to her hometown. Janelle Murillo says it should be could. That's correct, ma'am. That's our answer for number 6. So here we identify that for the subjunctive mood, we do not use can. Instead, we should use could. Next, for number 7, the nurse hugged her dying patient irregardless of the risks. Is it letter A, nurse, B, hugged, C, her, D, irregardless, or E, no error? Study the sentence and type your answer for number 7. Now refreshing the comment section. For number 7, I see Miss Danica de los Santos answering B, hugged. Sir Reynaldo Briobo answering letter D, irregardless. Sky Elijah answering letter A, nurse. And more people answering letter D. I see one answer letter E. Now let's check. It should be letter D, irregardless. So when we speak of the word irregardless, we take a look at its root. If we break this down into parts, we have the root word regard and the suffix less. Suffix means it's added at the end, right? And it changes the meaning. So if we're dealing with regardless, di ba regard means attention or concern. So technically, regardless means without attention or without concern. So the negative suffix less already has impact on the term regard. And the prefix "er" at the beginning means not or opposite of. So Charlene Arriesgado says double negative. That's right. There are 2 negative affixes added. So we have a prefix "er" and suffix less. And you'd be surprised to know that the word irregardless is not found in other dictionaries in other countries. So we consider this as a Philippinism. But before we proceed to examples of Philippinism, I'd like you to recall, type answers in the comment section of words that begin with the prefix "er." So "er" is added to a base word or to the root word. Give me an example or examples of words that have "er" at the beginning, added to the base word or to the root word. Can you think of any? Marie Chris Tamondong answered irregular. The same with Renan Lasaria, irregular. Irresponsible from Brendalyn Bonayon. Irrelevant from Josel Castro. All these are correct. I'm not so sure about Sir Ray Lobrigito. I'm not so sure about irritated. Let me check later if that's an example that I can classify under prefixes for "er." Irrational is another one. Irresistible, Ma'am Janice Benito, that's correct. So all those examples that you wrote are many of those I also wrote in on this slide. So one moment before we proceed to Philippinism, here for number 8, I now read, our company's business system is not perfect, but we are all right. Check if the error is in letter A, our. Letter B is Letter C, R, or letter D, all right, or letter E, no error. I see more people still answering for ear. Maybe a bit of delay in the connection. For number 8, what's the error? Sir Christian Abdan, I see your answer, irreplaceable. Sir Nino Vincent, yes, irreplaceable as well. For number 8, what's the answer? Reynaldo Briobo answers letter D, all right. Kib Stanlawan answers letter E, no error. Some of you answering letter B and D and E. So I see confusion in your answering of different letters. Eyes on the screen. The correct answer for number 8 is D, all right. If we take a look at the subject is system, right? All the words that come before that, business modifies or describes system. Our companies also modify system. It answers the question whose and what or what kind. And here, because the word system is singular, our verb is in letter B is correct. So we have no problem with SV agreement. Our concern is with letter D, because the word all right, although commonly used by teachers and students alike, the word all right is non-standard, meaning it's not accepted, especially in formal tests or licensed or standardized tests. So one that's acceptable is spelled this way, the one highlighted in lavender, all and right in separate words. Sorry. So this is the one that you need to remember when you take the exam. All right is spelled in separate words. Maybe one more item before we proceed to Philippinism. Kib Stanlawan says, ma'am, in elements of style, it should be all right. That's correct. So that's how it should be spelled. A-L-L and then space and then right. Now proceeding to number 9. How do we expect our students to cope up all these tests and written homework for this week? Is it letter A, we, B, cope up, C, these, D, this week, or letter E, no error? Ma'am Zenaida, thanks for that, Ma'am A. You're welcome, Ma'am. Joanne Valendas, dito talaga ako malilito sa let yung ganyang uring exam. Don't worry, we're going to have more examples of these commonly misspelled words or words that we use but are not considered standard. So for number 9, people are answering letter B, cope up. Some are answering letter A and letter D. Kay Kabuyok and Lilin Castillo answers letter E, no error. All set? Now on the screen, the correct answer is letter B. The error is in the term cope up. So cope up is an example of a Philippinism. And when we speak of Philippinism, this is a linguistic usage specific to or typical of the Philippines. Meaning, tayo lang ang gumagamit. Other people in other countries who use English as well do not have this in their vocabulary. So when we speak of the term cope up, this is not accepted in standard, if we say standard English, quote unquote, because we understand there are Englishes of the world. But in the licensure, if this appears and it's done as well in the identifying errors part, you have to choose it because cope up is not acceptable. So cope with, as in, I cannot cope with all the demands. The term with is the one that is a collocation of cope. So they usually come together in expressions now like cope with. So let me check. Here's another one. The literature teacher asked the students to identify the moral lesson of the story. Is it letter A, asked, Letter B, identify. Letter C, moral lesson. Or D, of. Letter E, no error. Heidi Tejada says cope only. Add the word with, ma'am. It should be cope with. Janice Benito says should be cope with. That's right. Aladdin Kalat says, pag nagkamali ka na sa ex mo, wag mo na hanapin, pero dito sa exam na to, need mo hanapin ang mali. That's right, sir. So in identifying errors, you really have to look for the error in the sentence or that underlined part which makes the sentence incorrect. So for number 10, people are answering letter C, letter B, letter A, letter E. Wow, your answers are really varied for number 10. So let's see. If you take a look at the subject, literature teacher, singular, asked past tense. No problem, right? The literature teacher asked the students. So no problem with SV agreement. To identify, that's an infinitive. Let's discuss that later. But there's something wrong with letter C. When we speak of the term moral, moral is defined in the Cambridge Dictionary as a lesson that can be learned from the story, especially a fable or other work of literature. So when we say moral lesson, we actually mean lesson. And among the comments, Janelle Murillo says, redundant na kasi pag pinagsama. That's right, ma'am. When we speak of moral lesson, you mean lesson. So instead, what do we have? We just say, the moral of the story is, we don't use moral lesson anymore. So teachers who deal with stories or who deal with grade school or even high school literature, you should be able to remember this when you ask the students for the moral. Okay? So for number 10, the correct answer is letter C. When we say repeat again, that's in the same category as moral lesson, right? Because when you say repeat, understood, there's a repetition of action. When we say get a free gift, that's another redundancy because gifts are really expected to be free. So free gift, we don't use that. Instead, we just say get a gift, or we say, can you repeat? We don't say, can you repeat again? Another Philippinism is the term taken care of. Yesterday we said take, took, taken, has taken, have taken, or had taken. So taken care of, we should remove the letter D in care to express the correct tense. Among the comments, Sir GR says, hi, nako, teacher ko dati palagi sabi na the moral lesson for today. Yeah, I think your teacher was not aware of this, sir. Roy Kaburnay asked, how about stand up po? The word stand in itself is enough for commands, right? When you tell your students stand, they already know that the action means a movement of the body upwards. Even the word sit, right? When you say sit and sit down, the word sit, if you use the word sit, people will understand that you want them to recline or put themselves on chairs. Let's see if we have more. The term salvage, right? In the Philippine context, when we say, na-salvage yan, salvage means killed or murdered. But if you encounter this in the licensure or in the proficiency test, the opposite is the meaning. So when we say salvage, like the rescuers were able to salvage 10 boxes from the shipwreck. So meaning to save, right? Saving of goods from being damaged or destroyed. Also, from the comment section, Charlene Arisgada says, ATM machine laging sinasabi. That's right. In fact, in many reviewers, the term ATM machine appears because If I'm not mistaken, A and T will mean automated teller machine. So is it automated or automatic? But the last letter machine, so when you say ATM, where the last letter means machine, ATM machine is AT machine machine, right? So use ATM only. When you say, I therefore conclude, also that's a redundancy. Thank you, Sir Nina Vincent. I therefore conclude. Therefore is used to signal that you're collating all your ideas or you're summarizing your ideas. I conclude is the same. So don't use them together. Christine Acabo says, thin number. Yes, that's right. Just like ATM machine, thin, I think the letter N in tin number already means number. So when you say tin number, that's TI number. All right. MJ Picardal, saan ba ako mag-watch? Dito sa YouTube, sobrang hina ng net ko, nahuhuli ako. Sa FB naman, sobrang labo, di ko makita. I hope you get to have a better connection, ma'am. Maybe you can change location. If you're inside the house, maybe move a bit and check where you can find a better connection. Okay, so salvage, positive. Now, in most dictionaries, it means saving of. But it's a Philippinism because in the Philippines, it means the opposite. Somebody is killed, was killed, or murdered. Let's proceed to number 11. The seminar for new teachers was conducted despite of the weather and the technical difficulty. Is it letter A, new, letter B, was conducted, letter C, despite of, letter D, technical, or letter E, no error? Read the sentence and choose the one that contains the incorrect part. From the comments, Ipomea Mercy says, dito din ako nagkakamali, ma'am. That's okay, ma'am. This is what the review is for. I see for number 11, people answering letter B, some answering letter C, and one answering letter E, no error. Just a few more responses before I reveal the correct answer. Okay, eyes on the screen. When we say despite, we don't use it with the word, with the preposition of. We say, I enjoyed the week despite the weather. So if we go back to the sentence, seminar, subject, singular, right? And then verb is was conducted. Was means singular. So we have no problem with the subject and the verb. So now you start looking at all the others. You have A, new teachers. There seems to be no problem with that. But if you check letter C, despite of all the commonly used in the Philippines, commonly incorrectly used in the Philippines, that's not accepted in standard, especially in written form. Instead, we use in spite of. So despite plus the noun, despite plus the issue, etc. In spite of, as in, he will play in spite of his injury. So that's the difference. It's okay to use of, but not with despite, only with in spite. Thumbs up if you understood the difference in the two examples in number 11. I see some of you lagging and not responding in real time. And that's okay. You can review the video anyway. Let's proceed. Number 12, I am writing to you with regards to your letter of April 12th. Is it letter A, am, letter B, to you, letter C, with regards, letter D, your, or letter E, no error? Read the sentence once more and check which part makes the sentence incorrect. Answers for number 12. Annabelle Kabalitan answers letter C for number 12. So Hyla Di Makaling answers B. More people answering letter C. One answering letter E. Yeah. Jessie Sai asks, Ma'am, hanggang kailan po kayo maging coach namin sa English? We will check with Ma'am Mek if there are available schedules for English in the future months. You may ask Ma'am Mek as well. She might have a reply for that. Thank you for asking, Jessie Sai. Let's proceed. For number 12, the error is with letter C, with regards. We use with regard only, right? We say another correct term is in regard to, although we don't often hear that in the Philippines, no, in regard to. But with regard is the correct form. It means in connection with. The one with an S is as regards. So as regards means relating to. As in, there is no problem as regards the financial or financial arrangements. So we say with regard or as regards. Char Antilino, sorry I'm late. That's okay. You can catch up. You can review the video. So for number 12, are we done? With regard, as regards. That's how we use these words. Next, for number 13. Did the 40 travelers knew about the flight cancellation? Is it letter A, 40, letter B, knew, letter C, about, letter D, flight, or letter E, no error? For number 13, go through the sentence and check. For number 13, some of you answering letter B. November rain. Sorry po, Ma'am Arianne, I'm late po. That's okay, Ma'am. I'm happy you're here now. You can review the video anyway. 13A. 13. Many of you answering letter B. Okay. Let's now check. The correct answer is letter B, knew, because did is already in the past tense, right? When we say did, it's an indicator that the action is already done. That's why when we say, na-met mo na ba siya? Na is a signal for the past, and met is also in the past. So when you say, na-meet mo na ba siya? That's correct. So it's somehow similar to this case. When you use the word did already, you have to have the base form no so that they'll match. No? You'll have a good form of the verb. Number 14, one of Charlene Arisgado says 1 to 10 number in words. That's right. And then above should be numerical. Yes, most technical writing books would have this rule, na. So I specifically put 40 that way because the word 40 is commonly misspelled as F-O-U-R-T-Y. But Charlene Arisgado's comment is correct. In number 14, one of my favorite mall is Festive Mall as it is not crowded on most days. Is it letter A, 1, B, mall, C, as, or D, days? Choose if it's letter A, B, C, or D. I'm now going through the comments. For number 14, most of you answering letter B, mall, and then a few of you answering letter A, that's 1, and letter C, that's as. Let's check. On the screen, the correct answer is letter B, mall. When we say one of the, one of my, one means that you situate it or you put it in a group or many, right? Iisa sa mga, right? It signals a plurality at the end. So one of plus plural. So here the correct response should be malls instead of mall. Welms Sid, which number are we dealing with? Nino Vincent, one of my favorites. That's right. You can also use that. One of my favorites. For number 15, Mark and his friends enjoy swimming, biking, and to dance. Is the error found in letter A, his friends, letter B, enjoy, letter C, biking, or letter D, to dance, letter E, no error? For number 15, I see people answering letter D. Those who can name the error aside from the letter. What kind of error is this? Judy Ann Ferrer says, letter D should be dancing. Consistency po dapat. Let's check in a few seconds if that answer is correct. Roy Kaburnay answers, parallelism. Charlene Arisgado says, it should be, dancing is not parallel. Both correct. Letter D, to dance, should have been the same as swimming and biking forms. So here, please take note of this. Please write on your notebooks the term faulty parallelism. Aside from errors in SV agreement, errors in parallelism frequently appear in the licensure exam. So we have faulty parallelism. What we have is a gerund, the one that ends in an ing, swimming, and another gerund, biking, also ending with an ing, of course, and the infinitive, to dance. Infinitive means to plus the base form of the verb. Morgan de los Santos says, dancing dapat. That's correct. So when we're dealing with parallel structures, using the same pattern of words to show that two or more ideas have the same level of importance. English textbooks will include the term to join or to connect. So conjunctions connect words or those with equal grammatical weight. So think of a weighing scale. So the words must have equal grammatical weight for them to be parallel. Or if more than two, just like our example in the previous slide, the words in a series or those elements of the series must be of equal grammatical weight. So here, the parallelism should happen at the word level, at the phrase level, or at the clause level. And the usual way to join these parallel structures is with the use of the coordinating conjunctions and or. Let's have examples. So here, as many of you said, like Janelle Murillo said, dancing, and Ray Lobriguito said, biking, dancing. That's right. On the screen, you can see swimming, gerund, biking, gerund, and dancing is also a gerund. So all of them in gerund form. This is at the word level. Now, if we have a different sentence using the same gerund, when we say swimming at night, the term swimming is a gerund, but now it comes with a modifier at night. The word at night answers when. So swimming is not a gerund anymore, but swimming at night we consider as a phrase. The next one, biking around the neighborhood. Biking is the gerund, but now it comes with around the neighborhood, which is a modifier, answering the question where. So it's a prepositional phrase functioning as adverb. Never mind those terms. But here, you can see that all those in pink are gerunds, and all those in green are their modifiers. So these that we have right now they're not at the word level anymore. We consider them as gerund phrases because the gerunds are shown with modifiers. So we have these parallel structures at the phrase level. We'll have something for the clauses later, but for now, this is how we show word level and phrase level parallelism. Okay? Thumbs up if the concepts on this slide are clear to you. Waiting for your responses in the comment section. June de la Cruz watching from Baguio. Good evening po. Good evening, Sir June. Okay, so we're clear with this slide. Let's now define gerunds because gerunds frequently appear in the exam. A gerund is a verbal. When we say verbal, it means relating to a verb or derived from a verb. It's a verbal that ends in ing and functions as a noun. My favorite image for gerund, I tell my students, verbals may be gerunds, infinitives, or participles. They can be likened to imposters because they look like verbs, but they're actually not. So take a look at the definition. It says it ends in ing, right? But it functions as a noun. Because words that end in ing are verb forms, right? They look like verbs, but they actually don't function like verbs. In the sentence, traveling is exciting. The word traveling looks like a verb because it has an ing. Here, it functions as a noun or as a subject. So we consider it a gerund. Okay? So here is the linking verb, and the word exciting is the predicate adjective describing the noun or the subject traveling. So traveling as a noun. Let's see in the next one. Carlo is traveling. The question, is there a gerund in this sentence? Write yes or no in the comment section. In the sentence, Carlo is traveling. Please type yes or no in the comment section. From the comment section, Nor MC Pido. Good evening po, watching from Lanao del Sur. Hello po, Mark Toledo. Good evening, ma'am. Sorry, late. Sige, sir, you can catch up. And Reynaldo Panganiban watching from Zamboanga, Sibugay Province. Kamusta po kayo dyan sa Zamboanga? So there are varied answers here. People are answering yes, there is a gerund in Carlo is traveling. And some of you answering no, there's no gerund. So I think this is a nice point for us to clarify this concept. Actually, in the sentence, Carlo is traveling, there's no gerund. The word Carlo is the subject, right? That's your noun, subject noun. And then is traveling is the action done by Carlo. It's the action being completed by your subject. Therefore, is traveling is a verb and it's not a noun, in contrast to the example, traveling is exciting. So in the previous example, the word traveling is the subject. Nobody is performing the action of traveling. But in the second part, Carlo is traveling is being done. The action is being performed by the subject, Carlo. So gerunds, they look like verbs, they have INGs, but they're not functioning as verbs. So only the word traveling is a gerund on this slide. Is traveling in the second sentence is a verb, not a gerund. Gerunds also have other functions. They function as PN, predicate nominative, DO, IO, OP, DO, direct object, IO, indirect object, OP, object of the preposition, and appositive. We'll discuss appositive maybe if we can have another or different session. In the sentence that you see on screen right now, I love traveling. Is this a verb or a gerund? Type your answer in the comment section, please. Is the word traveling in this sentence a verb or a gerund? Let me see. Juliet de los Santos says, traveling in this sentence is a gerund. GR Lintogonan says, it's a verb. Let me see. Cindy writes, this is a verb. And Jennifer Dio answers, this is a gerund. What do you think? Let's take a look. I as subject, love is the word transitive. Love is your verb, right? I performing the term or the verb love. I love what? And because it answers what, then it's considered as direct object. So in this case, traveling functions as a noun. It is not the action performed by the subject. The verb in this sentence is the term love, and traveling acts as a noun. Okay? So here, traveling is a gerund, not a verb. Next, in the sentence, she retired after 10 years of traveling. I underlined traveling already. The word of is an example of a preposition. And traveling here is not an action of the subject she. The word she is your subject. The verb is retired. So in the last part of the sentence, the word traveling is the noun, which is the object of the preposition. Traveling is a gerund, which is considered as the object of the preposition. Okay? All clear for this slide. Let's proceed. Infinitives. When we speak of infinitives, this one is an easy concept to remember. All you need to think of is to plus the base form of the verb. For those who love karaoke, diba the song The Impossible Dream is filled with a list of infinitives. We have the term to dream, to fight, to bear, and to run. Are you going to have a singing contest, Mamek? I'm sure some of the gents here can sing this very well. When we speak of infinitives, all these, to plus dream. Dream is the base form. To plus fight. Fight is the base form. To plus bear and to plus run. But just like in the earlier example for gerunds with the modifiers, now we have to dream what? So we have the impossible dream as the object of the infinitive dream. To fight whom? To fight the unbeatable foe. So the unbeatable foe here is considered part of the infinitive phrase. And lastly, to bear with unbearable sorrow. With unbearable sorrow, also modify the term to bear. So here, we don't have infinitives only because there are other words and modifiers and objects involved. We call them infinitive phrases. And infinitives function in many ways. They function as nouns, as adjectives, or as adverbs. Let's have an example. In the sentence, everyone wanted to go. Here, you have the subject, everyone, and the verb wanted. Everyone wanted what? And the term to go, the infinitive to go answers it. So we consider it as the direct object. Also, in the next one, we must study to learn. Subject, we must study is your verb. We ask, why must we study? And the infinitive to learn answers it. Why must we study? So it's considered an adverb. Okay, so these are only examples showing different functions of infinitives. There are many more, but for the sake of discussion, I'm only presenting these two tonight. Let's proceed. Number 16. For number 16, the burgers at Jollibee are meatier than McDonald's. This is not a paid advertisement, and I know many of you are hungry right now. Kaway-kaway po sa mga nagdi-dinner ngayon while listening to this session. So is it letter A, the, letter B, R, letter C, meatier, letter D, McDonald's, or letter E, no error? Choose the part in number 16 that makes the sentence incorrect. I see Danica de los Santos, letter C, and Reynaldo Briobo, letter D. Morgan de los Santos answering B. Oh, I see B's and C's and D's and E's. So there's a variety of answer in number 16. Maybe just a few more. For number 16, eyes on the screen right now, the correct answer is letter D. Let me explain. So here, I'd like you to identify what are being compared in this sentence. Specifically, there are two things being compared. Kindly type in the comment section, what are we comparing in this sentence? So some people still answering A and B. Sir Ray Lobriguito Sablay. That's okay, sir. I will explain the concept in a few seconds. Danica answers, the comparison is between McDonald's and Jollibee. Christine Acabo answers the same. Wisiel Kwambot, did I pronounce that correctly? Answers that burgers are being compared. Sky Elijah and the others also answer the same. So supposedly, let's take a look at this slide. This sentence shows that the ones being compared are burgers at Jollibee and McDonald's. And there's faulty comparison there. You should be comparing the same things, right? So supposedly we can correct this by comparing burgers at Jollibee compared to burgers at McDonald's. So if we were to correct the sentence should have been, the burgers at Jollibee are meatier than the burgers at McDonald's. Number 16's sentence only compares burgers at Jollibee versus McDonald's. So that's incorrect comparison. You're not comparing two similar things. Okay? Thumbs up if you understood the error in number 16. So what we should do, Izay, ligwak pala. That's okay. We will have an explanation of this. So we should compare the same things, right? Not burger to restaurant or burger to place. So here, we can still actually refine this. You can have this answer that you see right now. The burgers at Jollibee are meatier than the ones. So the term ones is a pronoun. It's a substitute for the term burgers at McDonald's. So we avoid repetition of the term burgers. So we say The previous one. This one is correct. Technically correct. The burgers at Jollibee are meatier than the burgers at McDonald's. That's correct. When we say the burgers at Jollibee are meatier than the ones at McDonald's, that's also correct. Josel Castro asks, akala ko ma'am possessive na yung D. That's right. Because the term McDonald's, that's how they spell. That's how they really spell their restaurant's name. So you have to specify that you're talking about the burgers at McDonald's. So you can say the ones at McDonald's or the burgers at McDonald's. Let's have another example. Opinions of politicians are no more relevant than private citizens. In the comment section, please type, what are the two things being compared here? I will wait for your responses. So in this sentence, opinions of politicians are no more relevant than private citizens. Write or type the two things that are being compared. AA mentions opinions. Opinions only. There are supposedly two answers. Danica mentions politicians and private citizens. Kindly go back to the sentence. Charlene Arisgado answers opinions of politicians compared to private citizens. Charlene, that's correct. So here, in this sentence, the opinions and private citizens are being compared. And that's incorrect, right? Because just like the burger examples, it should have been opinions of politicians and opinions of private citizens. So to correct this, we will have this example. Opinions of politicians are no more relevant than the opinions of private citizens. You have to mention that you're comparing both opinions, right? And not opinion versus people. So it should be opinions versus opinions of politicians versus opinions of private citizens. So I highlighted there the two things that must be compared. Or just like in the previous example, you can substitute the pronoun those. So we have opinions of politicians are no more relevant than those of private citizens. So the term those is a pronoun that stands for the term opinions. Okay, so this slide and the one that we had about burgers, we call those faulty comparison. They go hand in hand with faulty parallelism, but faulty parallelism is used more often than faulty comparison. Let's proceed to number 17. Neither or neither, you can pronounce it in any manner. Neither the tap dancers nor the folk singer practice regularly. Is the error found in letter A, dancers, B, nor, C, practice, D, regularly, or E, no error in the sentence? Go through the slide, go through the sentence, and type your answer in the comment section. Charito Manuel answers letter C. Maricris Tamondong answers letter C. Yeah, many of you answering letter C here. A few answering letter B. Yeah, but most people answering letter C. That's correct. For this number, practice should have been a different verb form. So the rule says, with compound subjects joined by or nor, the verb agrees with the subject nearer to it. So there are two subjects in number 17. These are tap dancers, plural, and the other one, folk singer, singular. And the term folk singer is closer to the term or to the verb practice. So answer should have been practices, right? Tap dancers, plural, nor folk singer, singular. Because folk singer is closer, it should have been practices. If we do the opposite, if the subject folk singer came first by saying neither the folk singer nor the tap dancers, then our verb must be practice, because now the closer subject is the plural subject, tap dancers. Okay, so I think everybody, almost everybody got the answer correctly if I only base on the comment section. Number 18. Every doctor, nurse, and paramedic prepares for emergencies. Check. Is the error found in letter A, doctor, letter B, and, letter C, prepares, letter D, for, or letter E, no error? Look for the error in number 18. Denz Morales answers letter C. Florencia Barnaiha answers letter A. I see more people choosing between A and C. Jennifer Dio answers letter C. And Gladys, let me see. Gladys Elona answers letter E. No error. So it's between, your answers are A, C. I found one letter E, Ma'am Gladys. Eyes on the screen. The correct answer here is letter E. Ma'am Gladys, you got this one correctly. So there's no error here because the rule says with the word every blank, for example, every person, every building, use a singular verb. So even if they're many or they're enumerated in a series, just like the one that you see on screen, every doctor, nurse, and paramedic, it doesn't matter because what we're talking about is every. So this is equivalent to the term each, right? Each person, each student, each doctor, nurse, and paramedic. Therefore, our verb should be singular. And prepares is singular. Lillian Castillo, Eden po sagot ko. That's good. Here, we do not have any error. That's number 18. Thumbs up if you understood why there is no error in number 18. So those who made a mistake, Shelby, Siakor, Ligwak, that's okay. That's the purpose of this review. With the term every or each, we use the singular form. Let me see. Number 19. For a family of 4, 100 pesos are not enough for a meal. Can you find the error? Is it in letter A, letter B, of, letter C, are, letter D, for, or letter E, no error? Buena Jenny says, ako po nauna nag-answer ng E. That's okay, ma'am. Sorry, I wasn't able to mention you earlier. June de la Cruz, nakakalito talaga ang English. That's right, sir. English has many exceptions to rules that are also numerous. So you have to really familiarize yourselves with the rules. 19, I see many of you answering letter C. And let me go through your answers. For number 19, Vincent Zabala says, okay lang maligwak dito, wag lang sa let. That's correct, sir. That's why we're reviewing. So, Joseph Caronan, wala pang tamang sagot. Mag-review pa tayo, sir. Okay. So, for number 19, the correct answer is letter C, R, because we're dealing with an expression for currency. Our rule, the rule says, the subject-verb agreement rule says, expressions of time, money, and distance. So those that mostly deal with number usually take a singular verb. Pay attention to the term usually. So here in number 19, 100 pesos is an expression of money. And 100 pesos looks plural, right? But the rule says it must take a singular verb. So other examples, so currency or money or time or distance, please take note, when we deal with these words or expressions, we use the singular verb. In the example, to Missy, 5 kilometers is too far. The term 5 kilometers is an expression of distance or measurement, right? So here we use the singular verb is. The next one, some people believe that 2 weeks in quarantine is long enough. We pay attention to 2 weeks, expression of time, and we use the singular verb is. Also, we have, before this one, let me see through your comment. Mark Toledo, sakit din sa ulo ang English, dugo Ilocos. I'm sorry, sir. We can ask Ma'am Mek to have more sessions for English, so you will gain confidence as you review. Flora, English is a complicated subject. That's right, ma'am. Jenlyn Silva, shout out sa mga ligwakers. Kaway-kaway sa mga ligwak sa number 19. Alvi Medaliada, ang English parang math, my formula. That's right. Grammar actually follows sets of rules that most of the time also follow patterns or formula. Let's proceed. Number 20. I am going home. I intend to stay there. So, look at the sentence. The error, is it found in letter A, going, letter B, the comma, letter C, to, or letter D, there, or letter E, no error. Parang math na nakakahilo. Ana Bulaon says, need focus kapag English na talaga. That's right, ma'am. So, type your answers for number 20. Is it letter A, letter B, letter C, or letter D, or letter E? Somebody's asking, TPCE loading, pwede po ba makahingi ng soft copy nito, ma'am, to familiarize? Is it better if I have a Word document instead of the slides? Sige, I will ask Ma'am Mek about the soft copy. Number 20, people are answering letter B. Some of you answering letter D. A few answering letter A. B or D or E for number 20. Eyes on the screen, the error here is in this comma found in letter B. So the licensure will also include errors in punctuation marks. And the rule says, use a semicolon when you link two independent clauses with no connecting words. Ma'am Marie Chris asks, Ma'am, magdadagdag po ba kayo ng reading comprehension? We can ask Ma'am Mek, okay? So here, clause means S plus V, or subject plus verb. You can copy this on your notes. This is a frequent item in the licensure. When we say clause, you're referring to a subject plus verb. So in this case, an example is, whenever I am hungry. So this group of words has the term I, which functions as the subject, and am, which functions as the verb, right? It has S plus V. But it does not express a complete thought. So we call this a dependent clause. The term dependent is a giveaway, right? It cannot stand on its own. But in the example, I open the refrigerator. I is your subject. Open is your verb. So this group of words, I open the refrigerator, is what we call an independent clause because it expresses a complete thought. So take a look at the difference. Both are groups of words. Both have S plus V, subject plus verb. But the first one cannot stand on its own or does not express a complete thought or while the second one expresses a complete thought. So the second one, independent clause, is already considered a sentence. So if we generalize, all sentences are clauses, right? Because a sentence has to have subject and verb. But not all clauses are considered sentences because some are simply groups of words that are considered dependent. So here, let's go back to number 20. May nakikita akong comment. Some people were not able to look at the comma. Yes, even punctuation marks, quotation marks, hyphens, some of those like colons are considered as items in the licensure. So when we take a look at these two, the rule says use a semicolon when you link two independent clauses with no connecting words. So here, I, subject, am going is the verb. This group of words, we call it an independent clause, right? S plus V, tapos it can stand on its own. It has a complete thought. So it's independent. Next one, I, subject, intend, verb. So this group, again, we have another independent clause. So two independent clauses. Look at the rule below. It says, use a semicolon when you link two independent clauses with no connecting words. So instead of a connecting conjunction, we have the correct form, semicolon. Okay? Thumbs up if you were able to understand the explanation for number 20. So here, the semicolon is a punctuation mark that joins two independent clauses. And independent clauses have S plus V, and they're able to have complete thought and stand on its own. So in the comment section, type what did you learn today, and I will read them out. Which concepts do you recall from this evening's session? I see many thumbs up. Ma'am Mek, they're requesting for soft copy and for more sessions for English, maybe. We will see na.
Yes, we will see. Andyan na, no? Ang dami na nilang request, Ma'am A.
Yes, ma'am.
And of course, you know, you have all learned so many things today, no? Kahit kami ni Sir Ram nanonood sa baba, and we are also learning. We're also learning with you. Thank you so much, Ma'am A. We have learned so many things from you. And of course, we will make sure that Ma'am A is going to be back with more details, no? With more, maybe sentence construction. Or they're also requesting, ano yung request nila, Ma'am A? Reading comprehension.
Sige. We will see.
Okay, so please thank Ma'am A, Coach Arianne. Maraming salamat po. And of course, we are going to request for more schedule from Ma'am A. Thank you, Ma'am A.
You're welcome. Good luck to everyone. See you.
Thank you po. All right, now, of course, everyone, let us all close today's session with our closing prayer. Please join me.
Lord, thank you po at natapos ang aming review sa oras na ito. Pagpalain niyo po ang Gurong Pinoy International. Sana mas lalong lumago at lumawak pa ang gawain na ito. Salamat sa mga ginagawa ni Ma'am Mek at Sir Ram para tulungan po kami na matupad ang aming mga pangarap. Kalakip po sa aming mga panalangin ang pag-iingat mo sa amin ngayong bagong linggo. Panginoon, maging mabunga po nawa ang aming mga araw. Sa pangalan ni Jesus, na aming Panginoon at tagapagligtas, ito po ang aming sama-samang dalangin. Amen.
Amen. All right, again, maraming salamat for those of you who stayed with us for our two sessions, no, for our English review with Coach Arianne. I know na natuto tayong lahat, no, nakakabitin, ang sarap matuto. Marami pa sanang gustong i-discuss si Coach A, no? But of course, we are going to set another schedule for Coach Arianne since you are requesting for more. And I know that this is all very important in your upcoming LET. And also for those of you who are having your EPT as part of your DepEd ranking. Now, please don't forget to check our page, our Facebook page. Punta po kayo sa ating Facebook page for your groupings. Meron po tayong 9 groups doon. And of course, it is time for you to vault in with your group mates. And please make sure that you contact all your members, you appoint your leader, and of course, you decide whoever among you are going to be your contestants in the different activities that we are going to have for our summer fever on the 15th of May, okay? And of course, abangan din nyo po, no, sa May, marami po tayong magiging guest lectures. All of our guest lectures in May will be international teachers, okay? So lahat po ng mga nandito sa Amerika, yung ating magiging lecturers in the month of May. And of course, our focus for that month is going to be math. Okay? So kung dumugo yung ilong nyo today with Coach A sa ating English discussion, mas dudugo pa lalo yung ilong natin, no, sa May. And that is, again, our focus will be math. Meron din tayong social science, another good friend of mine who's also a social science teacher here in the US. Okay? So again, for the entire month of May, we are going to have international guest lectures, okay? So please don't forget to follow us on our Facebook page and, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. This has been Coach Mac, of course, with the help of my friends, with Coach A tonight for your English review. And I leave you the saying, maliit man na butil ng mga kaalaman, ang dulo nito ay malaking kaginawaan. Maraming salamat! Good night, Philippines! Bye!